Welcome back again. This is the second topic of the second part of the today's track 3. We have an honor to be joining really a veteran of the IT. Yes, please welcome Professor Damir Kalpić. He's from Faculty of Electronic Engineering and Electrical Engineering and Computing. That's right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me that much credit to come to this historical presentation from history, actually. And okay, but hopefully there will be some use for you as well. You will maybe find something useful. First, who I am. I'm obviously the oldest person around. That is obvious. For the rest, I had to consult Google. What Google says, who am I? So I got this the title, Professor Emeritus. Okay, we know him from English, merit is something good. So I chose one favorable for me definition, this one, that's good. But I must admit there is also some other worn out, what is partly also true, unfortunately. If that I'm worn out, that is obvious. But for the first one, if you ask what are my merits, not a big deal. Actually, employable students, new department, profitable company, useful projects, and what is most important maybe for me is support by my colleagues, as on my department, so on the whole faculty. So, how it all began for me, I enrolled at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering at that time, and I was very happy. That was an excellent faculty. Actually, and I compared to what the colleagues were saying elsewhere, it was very, very much better organized and excellent. But what was my idea? To go as quickly as possible to United States. As soon as I finished, I heard that electronics is in high demand there. I saw no perspective locally, and I just waited the moment that I graduate and go to United States. But then I experienced something what I didn't know at that time, that it will be called that name, and that it is, and that is disruptive technology, what you are all aware of, because the conference is mostly based on change, and that is this disruptive technology that changed everything. This small gadget, actually, or children toy with these characteristics, if you see, that was the backstone, the main founder of our computing profession, actually, in Croatia. And it changed everything. Nothing was remained the same after that. The number of students doubled. Our professors were smart enough, so they knew that it will be a significant change. And I didn't even dream of having the opportunity to be offered post on the university, but then I received simultaneously on 3 departments the offers to join. And I thank God that I chose computing, not something else. And that was quite good. And we were immediately teaching on the first, second, and third year how to program. And maybe we had to learn it as well, because we were not experienced, of course, in that. And we have learned only a small course in programming. Actually, I must say, even if I prize my faculty, all my life I've been working something that I have never officially learned. So it is. I hope that might be citizen developer, but it is not exactly that. I had to adapt on the move to the things that were actually needed. But that is a prize for the faculty, because the education was obviously quite good. At the time, if you buy a computer that was very expensive, it must be running all the time, and it was faculty policy was, thank God, to encourage businesses on that. These are the departments. They were all established, but not in computing. There are famous professors at that time. There will be excellent mentors, but not in computing. maybe the last one, but I will mention him. Actually, there are two people. When my colleague and I joined the group, this one is important. He was business genius. That was very, very, very important. That one was good in programming because he was demonstrator. Why they hired me remains a question. I don't know. And we started immediately. Just a moment. There are actually a few possibilities, but we didn't consider that much. To go to some institution to see how they are, but I may humbly say that such institution didn't exist. Or to study deep into science. Part of that I did actually for my master degree. And that was high science. I was working on graphical design station, and we constructed and introduced analog input device, later known as mouse, 20 years ahead of time. Excellent, excellent science, but no application, no money. So it was just enjoying yourself. How clever, look how clever am I, but nobody actually gives much attention to that. But then, okay, the rest of the team, mostly all ended in United States, getting excellent careers. One was vice president of Intel, for instance, IT&T, and such things. And okay, lucky them. But Croatia lost some of the best people that we had. So if you do like this, difficult to resist immigration. But we have chosen without too much questioning, we shall do for money anything. Okay, no, that's exactly anything. If it is a boring job, then we would lose too much time. We must learn something in order that we can teach that. It was important to stay at the university, not to get fired because you don't teach or that you don't know what the students require. So it must be challenging in the way that we learn something by doing this and to be paid. That was important. That was the better. I preferred that better than a positive review of some of my paper that I received for nothing. And it is important, this business genius, I mentioned him before, he said, we can solve anything, any problem. No doubt about it. Of course, it was completely a complete lie. We didn't know anything. We knew some programming, okay, and we had some education. But the paradigm that the user knows what he wants, I will say he instead of he or she, not to be too correct. I mean, when I say he, that might be quite well she. The user, he doesn't know his problem. He has no idea even if he can formulate what he wants, that is usually wrong. So the user doesn't know what he needs, and we don't know how to solve it. Because in the meantime, the platform has changed, some new release that doesn't act actually like it was before. When you learn something, it is already obsolete. I think you are young, but some of you have already experienced that just when you feel fine and you have even maybe an own library of something. No, we don't play with that anymore. Now, don't be afraid of this small font. I put it on purpose in order that I possibly can't read it. Unfortunately, I can read it, but that I don't get carried away and talk you stories about every of these projects. These are a lot of real-life projects. They are not complete here. I just highlighted few in order to say something. First money earned showed that the user doesn't know. He wanted an impossible task. Okay, I can't go to details. Then I did, for my PhD thesis, 2 years of heavy programming. When I achieved some results, I wanted that they measure it in practice. Nobody cared. So I found out that nobody needs that results at all. But luckily for me, I found another real, that was business, well paid. I engaged a few students. One of them, I put his name here because he's my excellent colleague and was also Minister of Education and Science later. So it was a good start for his career. Lessons learned, coupling science, business, and education can bring synergy. Because I used the developed program, I reported it on microcomputers and used it also in education. But then, the first real application was in olive oil industry. I don't not to mention that its name was INA, but it was monthly plans of transportation by rail, trucks, and ship. And I was very happy with that job, and user not at all. And after 2 years, they don't want to prolong the contract. Why? Because their salary was larger if the costs were larger. So they had to change my results in order to rise the quality, the results. I asked, why did you do that? A refinery made us. And what do you want? We want that they think that it's optimal, but that it is the old way. Always look, if something goes wrong, look for the motives. The French would say, cherchez la femme. But it doesn't mean that you must find yourself a woman. Do not, then for Germany, before internet, we were exchanging annonces, like nowadays are doing also in Germany. I saw Automobile there. It was nearly the same. But our German partner only wanted development and neglected the sales. Nothing. Then very successful coding of census data in Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Well, it was important to recognize the free texts and assign to them the respective code. But 10 years later, it was excellent, very successful. 10 years later, due to public procurement, very strict obeying the law, they bought a slightly cheaper Canadian program. So the procession that our was in one month ready, done. This lasted 3 years with very many honorary workers doing the whole job manually. But that was legally correct, according to the public procurement, slightly cheaper. Then I had this project of, okay, this means that 10 years you must take on your own institution, the university, that something is accepted. Then that is my best project, my best project is in Ade Plastic today. But at that time, in the beginning of war, they were highly motivated to succeed, but they had completely wrong goal. I can't go to details. I would like to talk you all about this, but I suppose that nobody is now in production planning. Anybody is production planning? Material production? No. So I was right that I didn't choose, but that is my favorite. Then this is how we formed a company, which is in the title of this lecture. Business intelligence, data cleansing, data warehousing, credit scoring, and such thing. In the end, I found about 8 people, 8 former students who worked on that. And later we established the company. Maybe we'll hear about that, maybe not, because the time is running out. I put just this, that you see that of our department. We built also a department then. We were, forget it, never mind. Is with the system of higher education. X, it's the nourishment of students. Matura, that is all our products of our department. What have we learned in the meantime? I mean, what I have learned. From all these things, something. Because due to many projects. And what was also important, we had to keep up with IT developments. And that was good for education. Okay, I will skip. Oh no, I did not mean to skip all. Yes, this is Yeah, that is how we made a new department, because we grew. But we have also some, I didn't talk about how we made a very flat organization. I skipped that. And we voted secretly how much money each person can get. No chief, allegedly. They regard me as chief, but I wanted to not to be. But there is a setbacks. We make rather slow our academic careers because we never investigated something, do job in order to publish a paper. We published the paper as a necessary side effect after the job was done. And I still think that it is a good way. Later I found out in literature when I wanted to describe how we managed our group and later the department, that was fractal management. That every member of the group knows the ideas and you don't have to be careful so much, put him into discipline. That was highly motivating. It is written here. I will not read it aloud. But it is limited to the size of the group. As long as everybody knew what everybody was doing, it was okay and very, very, very motivating. The guys who were in the bank, they had a separate, this is what they were doing. I will also not read it aloud. You can see, I don't know whether you will get these presentations or not, but never mind. If you don't, you will not lose much. But it had significant effect on the bank, and it lasted, and finally we built a startup company for that. They were treated differently. 50% of them, they were working all the time in banks, so 50% of that was for them, and the rest for the rest. Faculty, department, also for me, but not so much as one would believe. They were earning quite fine. This guy, Stepan Pavlek, the oldest one, had monthly earnings higher than a regular full professor at the university. But he was clever. He said, well, the bank turns off the project, so let us establish a startup company. Even in the bank said that it is some complot against me, but I said, no, it's okay, we are doing it together. So they found the name Koios. That is the old Greek god of business intelligence, some helper of Pythia. She was probably giving advice to her. So that was good name. As I was supportive to that, the bank ceded the contract to the newly established company, what was very important because otherwise you can't get a serious contract immediately. I had to get quite a big chunk of maybe 40% of the ownership of this company. But I said, no, divide it to the others, to the rest, or who are already a few years having been engaged. And we did that, and the company is still alive. And my idea was better less from something than more from nothing, because they're highly motivated. That is maybe important. Now, one unpatriotic move. We moved the company to United Kingdom. Why? Here is a small example. Some 2% change in shareholders' ownership, 2 weeks preparation, 50 signatures, 8 people, 2 hours engaged. Later, we needed a reverse transformation. I thought, oh, great, now we are going to London for 2 weeks. So that, for 2 days, that will be lovely, just a nice excursion. Instead, that small piece of paper, not A4, it's just a small piece. Me, Damir Kalpić, give 2% to Pjap. Signature, scan, upload on the registrar's site, and after 2 hours, it was obvious that it has been solved. Just a small example. So we concluded what was otherwise known, that in Croatia the law is made as we are all thieves. But now what happens with exception? When the real thief comes, That is force majeure. Then, oh, but he's a thief. Then you can't do nothing because he was thief. But they treat us also as thieves. Moral of the story. Maybe useful recommendations. Try to be useful. Not think only on his own benefit. Something is similar to Jovana, but Jovana has left probably. No. I haven't stolen that for Jovana. No, it's not here. Listen, observe, and satisfy the needs of your environment. That's a good feeling when you satisfy the other people's needs. Do I have time? Yeah. Have you heard the story about counting photographs? In England, it was in UK, I think. Two groups of people. One declares themselves as happy, the other as unhappy. They gave them the same task. In Sunday Times or something, please count precisely the number of photographs in this large chunk of newspaper. If you do it correctly, you get £100. The same task to both groups. But on one of the pages was quite a large title. Those of you who are counting these photographs, if you see this title, you get £1,000. And of course, those who were lucky, they noticed this title. And those who were unlucky, they were just counting, and they did it exactly, but got only £100. So it is, keep your eyes open. Don't get a fixation on something. Don't wait that somebody from above solves your problem. In my case, that would be the minister or university. I haven't said anything, so okay. Avoid legal tricks. That is also what Jovana said. Try to be honest. People are perplexed when you see an honest person. They don't know whether he's crazy or something. But from time to time, just slightly demonstrate that you know, I know what you are doing, but I can afford that. Oh, then they feel bad. High quality co-workers, that is important. But treat them equal as you. That is very important to have this flat organization if they are really good. Then some populism, that is demagoguery. Pretend if you can't sincerely, but better if you do it sincerely. You deserve that money more than me. That is actually equivalent to -1. I deserve that money more than you, but that one sounds much better. And probably it's good if it is sincere. I was sincere actually with that, and many regarded me as a fool, but I feel fine. Appreciate social intelligence in your co-workers. Empathy, also Jovana said. Empathy for your user. Never say, I say to my students, never say the users are stupid. Why? Because we live due to the difference, and we must be quiet about that. So it would be like if the doctor says, all my patients are ill or sick. I don't know. All my patients, mostly all of them are sick. And they make me nervous. So we have to be patient and laugh. Not laugh really, but have empathy. Okay, that is a slighter expression. If you can't stand your boss, become one. I try to avoid being the boss because the guy I mentioned, he was better in programming and he wanted to be, do it. And finally, when he nearly ruined the whole team, then I took over. Unanimously voted for me. So, okay, no, I will not boast about that. And at the end of this advice-giving story, don't listen too much to others. People prefer to use your own head. Because you can always find, if you can, in literature, you can find anything you want. You know, no, you will not know. I mean, my time is 5 minutes still. Oh, you know, when we needed to write these damned papers, articles for the current contents or something that is appreciated. So we wrote something about Ixitsa. Who knows of students what is it you eat on that? credit card system, and poor faculty staff on some faculties also eat on that. We have heard that. Okay, but we wrote the article. Of course, we didn't read any literature about how such a system is built. So we used a Olympus camera that costed, I don't know, $150, and entered into its software so that on a click, the student was paired with the data on. Otherwise, it can come to a shift, and that is very unpleasant. And then we wrote about that. But then we asked a colleague to find who has said something before us, so that we have references. If you write a paper without references, then the referee will say, how does it relate to previous work? There was previous work. Oh. So we already have that experience. So, for instance, that was one of our greatest. He found that some Mr. Yakamura from that company, that I said, not for Polaris, what I said, no. Olympus, yeah, said there is, for such purposes, there is no need to buy $150,000 camera. Just a normal $150 camera can suit you. Oh, great. So while he said so, we bought for every faculty just a small camera. Otherwise, you would spend this $150 per $1,000 per faculty. You can imagine that it would go. Of course, use your own head and later find the references. Okay, I'm not completely against reading from time to time, but you mustn't overdo it. If you read too much, you have head like this, and you get rid of your own ideas. But then some combination of both is maybe good. And be good to your employers. Yeah. Don't be selfish. So, several obvious stuff. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So we have a few minutes for a question or two, if anyone is willing.
Ask if you dare.
Anyone? Okay, you can find it.
If nothing else, try to remember that about money, because usually, okay, now the companies have been formed, but when it was, we were actually non-profit society at the faculty. And non-profit, I thought formerly that it is something very noble, very, very generous or something. You know what is non-profit? Non-for-profit. That you don't have an owner. All the money you earn, you divide among yourselves. So that is it. It is not that you do something for free. And it was actually possible also during the time of communism. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stayed here, because I didn't believe that communism can succeed. Okay, but that is for another story. Yeah. Any question? Any question, maybe? Okay. May I put myself another question? No, I will not.
Thank you very much again.